sorry. Yes. So with that information, we are waiting on Axelar to sort of finalize their integration of Solana, and they've sort of informed us that that is a potential blocker or at least a delay for our integration. Of course, we're confident that Q3 will be the full stake, full funds launch of Alpha Mainnet of Telcoin Network. But in the interim, while we sort of wait for Axelar to finalize the Solana integration and move on to whitelisting us, essentially, there's a couple of governance proposals that have to go through, and but while we sort of in the interim during that period, we will be using the DevNet, loading it up with bridge transactions, load testing it, and sort of like automated setting up processes that automatically relay tokens across networks. And so that makes a lot of sense for us to do in the DevNet phase, which is perfect for code freeze and for audit, of course, but is also sort of a good stage for us to do a lot of the testing, because testnet will require some other permissioning from the Axelar entity. I guess it's a community, it's decentralized, they have their own node set, but there is a sort of a governance aspect to it. And once we've done that and sort of begun using the existing Telcoin testnet as a DevNet, then we will sort of launch a new Telcoin testnet, which will be one that is ready, again, audited, finalized, and ready for the MNO pilots to begin. So the plan for that contractually is to start sort of the pilots for MNOs July 1st. And so more or less what that entails, I may be not fully contextualized here, but I believe this is correct. We'll be running a testnet, like I said, identical to mainnet production, but with the caveat that there will be sort of pilot actions and mocking, I guess, if you will. Mocking is the wrong word, but anyway, the staking infrastructure, the epic management, the validators, the nodes will be operating, and the sort of rewards distribution will begin on that testnet. So that gives us, first and foremost, time to sort of white glove the MNO experience, onboard them as validators, inform them how to set up nodes, begin validating, front their stake, and contractually we will have very, very solid relationships with them. They should be technically up to speed with the entire Telcoin network stack by the time we go into mainnet alpha then in Q3. So yeah, I think that more or less covers it on my end. I know that was a lot, but did I miss anything, Grant and Steve?
No, I think that was a lot of information. It was, but I think you covered just about everything, so good.
Nice.
Yeah, and we'll definitely circle back at the end for questions, like you said. So I think that's
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few.
Awesome. So next on the agenda, great stuff, Marcus and Grant. Ari and Dwight have passed the compliance checks and have now been transferred their council member NFTs. So they'll now earn a constant stream of TEL, and they'll be able to vote on all the Platform Council snapshot proposals. Ari is representing the Stakers Miner Group, while Dwight will be representing the Liquidity Miners. So just welcome to both of you and congratulations. We're excited to have you. Now, on to the first proposal to discuss today. Just mic check. Everyone can hear me, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Don't want to redo that again. All right. So now we're at the expanding council meeting coverage to live streaming on X Spaces and YouTube proposal that Brozy put forth. And Brozy, I know last week you had some mic problems, weren't able to come up. Looks like you put some additional work since this first proposal. yeah, we want to do it for everybody. And it sounds like you got an average of 150 concurrent viewers, peak of 400, which is incredibly impressive, especially with a follower count of 400. So yeah, it sounds like we had some great traction there. Rosie, would you like to come up and talk about this proposal?
Sir, can you guys hear me?
You bet. Yeah, we can hear you. Well, now you're on mute.
Great.
There you go.
Nope, no problem.
Yeah, we can hear you. Well, now you're on mute.
Great.
There you go.
Nope, no problem. So the biggest thing with the proposal is really just organically without really incurring any cost, be able to push more viewership into the platform. Stop a lot of the redundant questions of, well, when was this talked about or what was this done? And because it's all there and easily viewable across multiple platforms. So that was kind of my case use study. I've seen success with it in other areas as well, and it really just depends on consistency and being shared across multiple platforms. So I think it's a net positive when you don't have to spend money to help grow essentially a viewer base and share a project. So that was the purpose.
Yeah, I'm heavily in favor of it. And I just to clarify, is it an option to host these live streams just using OBS?
You can use multiple. OBS is just one because it's open source and easy to, not easy to, but you can customize it a lot, right? The stream that I have going right now, I threw together in a few hours and I run it off of my laptop. But there's much more that can be done. There's many other streaming platforms that can be used to share this across multiple platforms. So OBS is just one encoder essentially that's used to take the video and share it across the different platforms. But it doesn't have to be that. It's just that's free. And if you take the time to set it up, it can be easy to use.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we should probably move forward to this. But do you think the proposal is ready to move forward with the vote?
Yeah, I think I kind of listed everything out there for the council and everybody to look at. I think some of the questions would be, one of the big things I don't know is just, in order to get the most reach, either sharing it on the specific platform and not, like my platform, for instance, would give the project the most reach. That may, again, I don't know, expose whoever is hosting or whoever the moderator is and doing this process, expose them to potentially things that should be under NDA. So that's why I put that in there. But I don't know, because obviously, but just as a consideration, I thought that would be important to put in there. And this also, one other thing to think about is this also may be something that is covered by these marketing firms. It's a question to ask if they do stream moderation too. So.
Great point. Yeah, I think let's definitely ask them to today. But in the short term, either way, probably if we can use OBS, I know that Leo's pretty fluid in that. We can probably push this to a vote and make it happen. If does anyone have any negative takes on this proposal or refinements, improvements that we would need in order to make it a proposal that we can all vote on and approve, or should we move forward with it as is?
Happy to move forward.
So one other thing I forgot to share, I wrote this down. I did some research on just what sharing on some of these platforms does to organic growth. And a lot of stats are showing anywhere between a 500 and 1,000% increase in viewership just by pushing this off into by each platform, just by pushing this onto official channels. So that just gives kind of a scope of what you're really looking at for no cost.
That's great. Yeah. And, I think it'll probably have the effect of elevating the association /TAO Twitter. And I think that the overall Twitter and just like media strategy that we continuously develop with the marketing agency, we should do that and probably just start off with the Telcoin Association Twitter and the Telcoin Association YouTube, and see if it has that effect of getting way more people to watch it, participate, and grow viewership for those platforms themselves as well. So like I can see how it would work. Like someone goes, hey, watch the live stream of the council channel on YouTube, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I didn't know this YouTube existed, and there's the catalog of all 30 of the different council meetings. And yeah, so I'm in heavy favor of it. And if you are not in favor, please do speak up now, so we can just go ahead and green light this thing and move forward.
A side thing to add really quick, which is related to sort of the the social YouTube appearance side of things, but I don't want to get in the way if anybody has any objections to what Parker was saying.
Well, I think that if anyone has objections, come up and talk, and take your microphone off mute. But if you don't, then yeah, Marcus, please.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's just a side note. I got a couple two messages from two sort of like smart contract podcasters, I guess I would describe them. I mean, they're both developers, but they're also sort of involved on the social side, and I believe one of them has a YouTube channel. I don't know if that sort of thing is interesting to us. I'm happy to appear on the show. It's a very small, limited viewership, I think. Yeah,
For sure, you should do that. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, okay. I think it's probably a good time to do it. After we get to code freeze, I'll have a little bit more time, and I can sort of prep stuff. But I think it would be a good way to attract some sort of developer attention, and maybe attract some builders on the Solidity side. That could be cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, and just make sure to say at Telcoin Tau on Twitter and YouTube, or X and YouTube at the end.
Smash the like button and hit subscribe.
Smash the like button. Smash all the buttons.
Cool.
So it sounds like we don't have any additions, and now are anyone objecting, and we now have Marcus going on to podcast, which is awesome. 2 big wins there. Next on the agenda is the proposal that I haven't read yet, but it was also from our good friend Brosy, and it's entitled "Development and Publication of the Council Organizational Chart." The overview is that the proposal requests the development and publication of an up-to-date org chart displaying all current elected seats for each Telcoin Association Council on the official website. The chart will provide a clear, accessible, and authoritative reference for community stakeholders, prospective participants, supporting transparency and engagement in Telcoin governance. So I assume this is talking about telcoin.org. And if so, I think should be probably a TEL IP, as it'll incur some development cost. And once this TELX edition is done, I think they'll be in a position. This TELX Council has some things that we're working on implementing to the TELX side. So once that's done, I think there probably will be capacity to do that. Think this is useful, and Brosy, you have the floor. We'd love to hear your thoughts and overall presentation and rationale for the proposal.
Sure. This one was really just simple in regards to sharing of information. One of the questions I get often from people that are newer to Telcoin, to the project, is, which council does what, and who should I ask this question to? And I think that's a pretty common occurrence. And those of us that have been around a while know who everybody is and know kind of what they do. But having an easy infographic that's just a one-pager that's right there makes it very clear and concise of what each council does and is responsible for, and how they can help if you have a question, and who to talk to.
Yeah, I'm in big support of this. In terms of what I've read so far, I need to go through the proposal, get the particulars out, and it's also an area where I think an agency can come in and help design things properly. I can't tell you how many times I've done the council org chart and written out the responsibilities and duties of them, but the organization of them within the site in a comprehensive, cohesive manner, I think and of everything within the site, I think there's room for massive improvement. It's quite a data dump. I can say that openly and freely because I was the one who did it. And I think that it is so much room for improvement, and would just love to, starting with this, we have some different materials in there that outline it, and they're in different areas, and it just all needs to be a lot. The vision for it was to have it so that it's like 30,000 foot view of everything, and then you click on something, and then it goes into like the 10,000 foot view, and then you click on another thing, and then it goes into the ground floor. And I think that vision actually was right, but I don't think that I don't think I did that great of a job at the first go. And yeah, so I think there needs tremendous updates there. I think this is a good starting point. I will share what I have, and then I think we should probably set up a sort of workshop on it. To walk through like the precise specifics. But yeah, once I review that proposal, I'm gonna have some thoughts for sure, and I'll try and bring a working doc to the next one, and then I think hopefully from these agencies we can get someone to come in that can that's really good at building intuitive websites for people to participate in doing things, handbook style. Like we had just like the perfect handbook about all of this stuff. I think it just makes it so much more marketable and useful. And so, yeah, I'm really glad that we've got this proposal going. I think we need to, personally, and I want everyone else to share their opinions if they have any, but not feel forced to do so, is that I think we should work on continuously refining this proposal and getting something to the next implementation by like after the next meet. That would give sufficient time to digest and then come up with something, and then see what you guys think, and then move forward with it, while and also allowing us to hear from the agencies to see what their capabilities are, especially in terms of this type of thing, as something to add to our list, and go from there. So yeah, really awesome proposal, Brosi. Does anyone have any other comments? Yeah, Ty, I think I probably have some that can be shared. I just can't, yeah, it's just going to take a little bit of time. But yeah, I respect the urgency, Ty Kimi, and we'll try and share something like next week with you guys that's just a draft on the proposal, and see if we're on the same page about it. It's when you have the complex system and then you have the governance orgs, deciding what you're going to put on the arrows and on everything. It's very easy to look at the page and be like, what the heck? Like, there's so much going on, and so doing it right is super key. I think I might have something that you all will like. It comes down to whether, like, what levels are you analyzing? Are you analyzing it in terms of like, there's the minor groups in the minor assembly at the constitutional level that determine what the rules of governance are in terms of the minor groups electing the councils, and then showing the councils governing each of their little jurisdictions? Or is it, similar to like this chart that I see people share a lot, which is, the sort of 3-block Telcoin network, Telex and Telcoin application network with each of the stakeholders around them, and just sort of replace those stakeholders with governance units. That becomes the question. And it's like, because then there's a lot on the page. So as you can tell, I've written a lot of diagrams specifically for this, and I just, give me a little bit of time, and I'll try and expedite something to you that we can at least finalize and push to snapshot. And I hope that we can we'll get something short term, and then we can have something more long term related to the website, because I don't want to do scope creep on an initiative that is clearly high urgency short term. So that's my thoughts. And I'll give everyone a couple seconds. If there are none others, then I'll move along, because we are going on time here. All right. So the next one that we'd like to go through is the updating Telcoin Association's GitHub website and Discord on CoinMarketCap. I haven't read this proposal yet. If you'd like to come up and discuss the proposal with us, Mr. Hamilton, we would welcome you to the floor.
Just to jump in here, I don't think it was a proposal he's on about. So I know the
Okay.
team were working on CMC and updating the essentially the whole Telcoin page, because there was a lot that needed to be updated. This was in progress, and it was basically asking for status updates.
Copy that. Okay. Thanks for the color there. Then we'll move forward to the main event. And something I think a lot of people have been very excited about for a while. Not to say that Mr. Hamilton's proposal and ideas aren't awesome. But yeah, the media and marketing campaign to support Telcoin ecosystem awareness, TEL IP proposal. So basically, following the last Platform and Treasury Council meeting, we decided to basically put together this RFQ proposal and reach out to some specialized agencies. I've seen some folks post on Twitter about, here's a few agencies that we should consider. Make sure if you know anyone in that, point them into our direction, because we want to choose the best possible partner for us. We're unique, and we need someone that can hit the ground running and do a great job for us. And I helped craft the RFQ with Leo. We're doing our best. We're not like experts at writing RFQs, or really RFPs, you name it, or marketing. That's not our area, and so that's why we're seeking specialized agencies to come in and do this. In addition to not trying to make it a full-time job for any council members, is remember that associations, councils are the brain and the arms of the TAO that contract with agencies to carry out things in the world. And so just to provide some context to anyone who hasn't been a part of the last couple of meetings, the overview of the proposal is we're seeking approval, funding approval for this from the Platform and Treasury Council to support the issuance and execution of this RFQ for strategic marketing and communications partner. We provided this draft. It's all pretty. It's our view of here's all the stakeholders that we're trying to market to. Here's the type of messaging that we would want you to do, and these are our like sort of best guesses on how we can basically get qualified marketing agencies to come in, present to us as a community on how they can improve our marketing capacity, our skills, and get increase our visibility, get people participating, and just generally get engagement from all the stakeholders that we're targeting. And those are at the base layer, they're mobile operators in the GSMA consortium of people that could be application developers, they're liquidity providers, crypto, technical people, and finance folks, consumer finance generally, and people that use all of those services and want to interact with their payment networks as stakers. And so we want to, really just bring in the big guns, and the RFQ, and I put TBD on the amount here. I mean, generally what we're asking is, and we want to do a sort of proposal on, is some folks to come in, review our proposal, provide, a presentation of how they can do it, for how much, and then we will ultimately go and have them to a vote. And once again, I'm no expert in marketing or RFQs or RFPs, and want to highlight this proposal is at the informal stages. And right now is when we're developing to something that we can formalize from its initial form proposal to something that's real. So I think we need to all work together. I think there's probably a lot of people that work in marketing or have ideas about how we can market this, whose opinions are incredibly important to us choosing the right firm and bringing in the right firm. We've actually reached out to and already received interest from 3 very capable firms. And it's my pleasure to introduce them today. I think there may I know that one of the firms will be coming out the next time, and they had posted a comment on the forum. They want to do their due diligence and really have something ready to go. But overall, I expect there to be introductions and then presentations multiple times from each of these agencies. And so, yeah, with previous introductions from external parties, new people into the ecosystem that haven't met us yet, I'd like to give each company a chance just to introduce themselves, provide some context about their business, and perhaps even give us a little bit of guidance on what they do for us and present on their business and how we can improve this proposal. So the first company is Scribe, who I've actually worked with on they have a bunch of arms to their business. I don't want to speak too much about their business because I'll let them do that. But I really enjoyed working with them on the PR side of Telcoin, and they understand Telcoin, which is, I think, really great. And so, yeah, I'd like to welcome up Isaiah and everyone else from Scribe to the floor who would like to speak and present to the community on how you can fulfill this proposal for us. So let's see. Isaiah, I see you there. I will invite you to speak. I believe Isaiah might even have a presentation, so we got to help him. Isaiah, what's up, man?
How's it going? Good to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. I got JB. I see. Who else do we need to add up?
And then Ross Booth as well. But thank you for the introduction, Parker. And it's great to be here with the council, and thank you for welcoming us here. As Parker said, I'm Isaiah Jackson, the VP of PR at Scribe, where we're a comprehensive comms agency where we specialize in everything from brand to media relations to marketing to community. So with that, I brought some running mates here. Ross Booth, who's one of our co-founders, as well as JB, who's our chief strategy officer. So with that, I'll throw it to you both. Introduce yourselves, and we're just really excited to get the opportunity to present to y'all and support in any way that we can. So Ross or JB, I'll throw it to one of you.
Yeah, sounds good. And Echo, thanks for having us here today. Just a housekeeping question. How much time would be appropriate for us to interact with you guys?
I think you have the floor for as long as you need. 15 minutes would probably be a threshold, maybe.
Awesome. And then just on the projection side, I don't have permissions, I don't think, to project my screen here.
Let me see if I can.
If not, we can just speak to it. No big deal.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
All right. Ooh, here we go. Just give me 1 second. Ooh, how am I doing here?
Good. Good.
I'm projecting my own screen, aren't I? Okay, give me 1 second. Let me. I have 2 monitors on here, and I'll just flip the switch. You guys all see my dog now? He's cute.
No.
You don't see my dog? No. Is it just the window? All right, 1 moment here, guys. We'll try it one more time, and if not, we will just do the voiceover.
Sounds good. And we'll figure it out for the next time if necessary.
No worries. All good over here. Choose, make selection. Share this window. All right. How about now? You guys got an agency overview on there?
We see the Discord page again. It's the Discord window. So
All right.
last time you dragged it off, it seemed to be, if you can drag it back into this spot, whatever it is, might be
How about
visible.
now?
No, unfortunately, just still Discord.
All right. All good. All good.
Sorry about that, JB. I take full
You're
responsibility.
You're good. All right, cool. So just a couple things about us, and we can follow up and send you some stuff that we were going to show you. But ooh, hang on 1 sec. I think I might have it. How about now? Add this window. No, still the Discord. No, I got it.
You're in.
I'm good like that. Okay, cool. So a couple things just again to make the best use of your time. One is that Parker, based on what you just said, it sounded like you are open to consultation on just the RFP itself and just helping, sort of get that as tight as it can be. Is that a fair assumption?
100%.
Cool. So we do that a bunch. I'll give you a little bit on that and then just go through a couple of slides about us. I'm not going to get deep into the weeds on it. And then maybe we'll go about 5 for any questions or just to interact with each other as mentioned. But we, as you'll see, work with a lot of, we do only Web3, I'll say. And so we work with a lot of projects from Telcoin really coming out into the world in a lot of ways at this particular point, particularly with the Tau, et cetera, all the way up to folks who've been around for 10 years and are top 10 coins. And we work with them in this capacity in terms of advising them on when they're in a DAO structure and putting together marketing and other comms related proposals, like how can we make this as good as it would be from a Fortune 50 that's been doing RFPs like this for decades. So we're happy to consult on that. And then in addition to that, just a tiny bit about Scribe, and I'll stop and let you all ask questions, interact, all that. We're only 2 years old. We're 70 people. We're not 700 people. And we don't want to be. Our whole thing is we want to decouple ourselves, and we have so far, knock on wood, decouple ourselves from the crypto market. So therefore, in terms of us to do that, we want to work with high quality projects that are well capitalized, that are not going to be knocked out by the next bear market. And we want to have really good programming with them where everyone is on the same page about this is the program, this is why we're doing it. This is what we're looking to accomplish business metrics wise and comms metrics wise. And if we do that, then ideally we continue to be decoupled from the market. The programming is really good. And in terms of our sort of selfish, if you will, growth strategy, that's how we're going to build this thing. So that's us. This is, and I saw some of the comments and some of the other agencies who are sort of on the list, or what I could see in the comment section on the RFP page. And those are all our frenemies. A lot of respect for all of them. And all of us here at Scribe, out of the 70 people, we've all probably come from one of those agencies at some point in time. So on this slide, I'm going to contrast us, but it's not a better or worse type of situation. But in terms of how we're a bit different for this industry, the first is that everybody at Scribe has worked in crypto before. There's good and bad that come along with that. But on the positive side, you're not going to have to spend any time teaching us about Web3, nor the world of Telcoin, or how the token and the network relate or don't relate to the neobank, or the app, for lack of a better term, how all this stuff works, how you sit in the market, who the competitors are, how the tech works, what axelar is, etc. So that's really beneficial, not to have to, sort of suffer through remedial education before an agency can add value. And then we're also crypto native in the sense that there is a lot of copycat marketing in this space. There's a lot of cutting and pasting. There's a lot of people playing it safe and just doing the same thing, to the point where when you see what one crypto project is posting on Twitter, you can pretty much cut and paste the logo from that crypto project to another crypto project in the same post, and you're not going to be able to tell who's who. And so we know the space really well. And it's not just knowing it so that we can do the same things as everyone else is doing, but how can we really differentiate our clients so that they are playing a different ball game than the rest of crypto Twitter, to use one example. Everything we do is customized. And so again, there's a lot of copy and paste. What will be true for the Telcoin RFP, and hopefully what comes through loud and clear, if when we submit for that, is that it's for Telcoin. It's not just like a list of tactics and credentials that we could cut and paste the name Telcoin out and pop that up in the next RFP that we submit for. And because we do a bunch of different stuff, and I'll show you it on this. I'll come back to this slide in a moment. But we do a bunch of different stuff. We're not the Cheesecake Factory. We don't have 1,000 things on the menu, but we're versatile. And these are the buckets that we work in: creative, creating brands from scratch, reinvigorating brands that have been around for a long time, PR, media relations, which Parker touched on, and then digital. And by that, we mean anything that is online, and it even goes beyond that. But you think of your community management, your socials. You guys were talking about a website, all of those sorts of things. So because we do a bunch of different stuff, we are going to customize the programs. Everything's going to be built for what you need, rather than just selling you media relations over and over again because it's all we do. And we're going to be able to optimize it so that if we develop a program where it's part media relations and it's part socials and it's part paid advertising or whatever it is, we look at the metrics, both business metrics and comms metrics, on a monthly basis. If a piece of that program isn't working, we'll just cut it and we'll replace it with something else, or we'll add to it. But the motto here is we don't just have to keep our head down doing whatever the tactic is. If it's not working, it's a waste of your money. It's not very inspiring for our team that's doing that work. And so you're going to get to really good programming from that. And that is different than most of the other agencies in Web3. The last thing I'll say here is this is a little bit of who we've worked with. We're only 2 years old, as mentioned before. So all of these folks, and you can see axelar on there just because they're mentioned, before, in terms of everything they're doing and the integration with Solana and all that. But you can see that these projects are large and small. And we're used to working with people at whatever stage of the game they are, and be able to fit in with them and be able to grow with them. So that's just a little bit about us there. I'll pause. I promised everybody 5 minutes. I think I'm at 3 more right now for my 15. But again, excited and happy to be here. So any questions, happy to take those, and I'll be able to look at the chat in 1 minute here. Let's see. Beautiful. Sounds promising. There we go. You're projecting your own screen. You don't know how to project on Discord.
Yeah, don't take that personally. But it was an awesome presentation, by the way. Great. Does anyone have questions, guys? Come on up. Raise your hand if you have any.
How long has Scribe been around?
2 years.
Very cool.
Yep. And so
Any
we.
highlights?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, sorry. I was just asking if there are any highlights, but continue.
There's like, hang on one second, share this window. So in terms of the stuff on this screen, and hopefully you can see it. Hopefully I'm projecting the right screen. You guys see the client slide up there? Yeah. Hopefully. No.
No.
Discord window.
It's the same window again. All right. Well, whatever. On the client side, it's just different scale. Like we helped Mantle in the very early days of Mantle, really build that thing up. Everyone's very proud of working for Monad in the early days of Monad and helping them grow as much as they have. And so that's really sweet. And then, on the more established side, being able to reinvigorate brands like MetaMask, like Polygon, like Aptos, although they're not as old as some of the other ones in terms of years. But yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff that I think in 2 years we've covered a lot of ground. But those are some good ones, and then some stuff that's not on that logo slide for anyone who looked at it closely. Some of the work we're doing right now with Maple Finance is really cool. Some of the work we're doing with Stellar is really cool. Some of the stuff we're doing with like larger institutions, non-crypto, but still in crypto, Franklin Templeton and stuff like that. Those would be stuff, Cardano actually. And I know Cardano has a mixed reputation, but we're helping them with their current transition to decentralized governance. We've been working with them for about 6 months on that. And so now if any of you guys are seeing any of that, in terms of Cardano moving from a project led really by Charles and the founding entities to one that is going to be, if we're able to do this well, one of the largest decentralized governance projects in the history of crypto. And we're going through what sort of you are going through right now in terms of getting off the ground as a DAO. Kind of doing that with a project on the scale of Cardano has been really quite fascinating. And so ideally, a year from now, Cardano is showing up in a much different way if we've done our jobs well.
JB, one of the things that we hear a lot of from the community, and that we kind of shared frustration of that, you have a project like Telcoin, and with the DAO that is responsible for managing not only the token but the network, the DeFi layer, all these awesome projects that really comprise the platform, Telcoin platform, and we have this decentralized governance. We have a lot of long-term strategy. We have compliance in place, and a lot of work behind the scenes just to sort of like lay the bricks for a better future. But in the meantime, we see Fartcoin breaking brand new records, overnight, and just sort of these meme tokens and all these explosions. So I was wondering if you could speak to kind of, from a PR perspective, like some of the struggles that you see, like utility tokens that have maybe like real world applications and long-term ambitions versus these short-term, exciting, burn bright then fade out real quick projects.
Yeah, and just to restate that, the question is, I'll just paraphrase it, but you guys are doing like really solid things. You had mentioned the compliance, and we also know a bit about Telcoin just based on the work with Parker. So you're doing things sort of solid in the right way, and then you have Fartcoin on the other end of it, right? And seemingly Fartcoin is rewarded in the world of communications. And so just speak to sort of that tension and that struggle for projects like Telcoin. Is that a fair summation?
Yes, yeah, just kind of open floor. What are your thoughts? What would you see? And as a potential representative for this project, what do you see as like some of the obstacles and maybe some of the strategies that you might employ, and like how do you see the relationship and the competition between those sorts of tokenomics?
Yeah. So what I'd say, and if you and we're happy to working with like, and I'm not suggesting you said this, but we don't do meme coin stuff. We don't do hype.
No.
We have, again, just in terms of our own business strategy, like we want to build really solid things for solid projects that are going to still be paying dividends 3 to 5 years, 10 years later, And so a lot of the advice that we give is just tune out the noise. Do not care what Fartcoin is doing. Do not care about these things that are going to be all hype, that are going to have massive spikes and then massive valleys. So that's a big one. Hey, Nico, pardon me, I have a 4-year-old. Nico, give me 1 second, buddy. Mama went to pick up your sister. Give me 1 second, okay? I love you. Sorry, guys. What I was going to say is that so in terms of like what the playbook is, for lack of a better term, it is start by building brand, number one. And I don't have enough time to I don't want to take up too much of your time about like talking about brand versus visual identity, because brand in Web3 typically means like your name, your logo, your color palette, all that. But it's not that. Build a brand, and then think about the brand equity that you're building over time. All of the tactics, the media relations, the social media, the community management, the advertising, whatever it is. If you're going to do this well, you need to have a structure where those tactics are building a master brand. And so it's not just doing a bunch of tactics in a vacuum. It's doing that. You do that well, and this is not an apples to apples comparison, but that's like why Apple is where it is over 40 years, because everything that they've done, every ad, every media placement, all this stuff, it's going back to building brand. And a lot of times projects that are launching in Web3, they want all the hype, right? And they just want like the quick returns. And you'll get some of that, but it's more about what are you building for the longer term, and are you capturing brand equity in a good way? And then that's also the stuff that shows up on your balance sheet in terms of goodwill valuation. But it's like Amazon paid a 20% premium on Whole Foods just based on the brand that they had built. And so that's what we help people do, is build that brand equity and capture that in terms of the impact it'll have on your token and on your project. Not tomorrow, but 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. So there you go. I see a lot of questions here, so I'm going to answer them unless you guys tell me that we're at time.
Yeah, you've got time. You got all the time that in the world, as far as I'm concerned. It sounds like we don't have the other agencies coming in today.
Okay.
Unless they're, yeah.
So here we go. Let's take me for an example. I can be an absolute insufferable sob. I love results and I want them fast. In crypto time, you sounds like you're able to adapt to the current marketing trends in the market. Is that a fair assessment? I would say yes and no. Really what we're bringing to crypto, that again, and I'm not throwing shade at any other agency, but just, we all have worked at them. And a lot of folks are not doing this, is we are bringing good fundamental marketing technique that's been around for 100 years, and we are applying it to crypto. So like, yes, we're up on the latest trends. We have a million degens running around. Like we know that stuff like the back of our hands, the tech and the culture. But really what we're doing is we're applying the marketing and communications frameworks that are scientifically proven to work. So we're not chasing trends, right? We're doing the fundamentally sound stuff that works. We're just packaging it in a crypto way, if that makes sense. And
I want to buy it.
Okay, I will come up and put Spider-Man on for you. I will do that while I'm talking with this nice group of people here. Thank you. Cool. Do we have testimony? So does that make sense, by the way, Loopy Ploop, I think? Does that make sense? I don't know if Loopy Ploop is here or can talk, but by all means.
Yeah, it just sounds like it's a big hit.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
Do you have testimonials? Yes, no problem. What would you say was your USP as a company? And just to make sure that I'm using the term right, it's like what is the thing that we're doing better and differently? And what's like the secret sauce? Nico, please. Bitey, I get it. So
Yeah.
is that's the question?
Unique
All
selling
right.
proposition. That's the idea. Yeah. What makes y'all special?
It's that. It's everything I took you through in terms of actually applying fundamental and scientific marketing techniques that are proven to work, utilizing and respecting data, and being where if media relations is the answer to your particular situation, we're able to flex into social, vice versa. But the difference is we're starting with a strategy. And if you get the strategy right, and I have a deck that maybe you guys will see at some point in time, but if you get the strategy right, and you know what you're doing from a brand perspective, those tactics are interchangeable parts in terms of what's the best channel for us. Is it advertising, media relations? Is it going on Twitter, whatever? And so that's very different. Most other agencies are going to sell you a collection of tactics. And some of them might be great and some of them might benefit you. But most of the time, they're not going back to building brand equity. And I know that some of this is like esoteric marketing talk, but that is our USP. And happy to unpack that further if there's interest in it. We have both a public-facing element as well as a B2B dynamic. Do you have projects that have B2B applications? Yes. Yes, very, 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 very much. Million different B2B clients. And the thing about that is it all go again, like fundamental communications technique. It's all audience message channel. So whether you're talking to a B2B audience or a B2C audience rather, they're all people at the end of the day. And they're all humans. And we're like marketing at its core is not about sharing information with people. It is about triggering them in emotional and psychological ways that a lot of times we're not even conscious of. And so as long as you're dealing with a human on the other side of it, the same, science, the same formulas, they apply to consumers of McDonald's in the same way that they, apply to devs, right? Or to just like the most technical, nerdy people in the world doing the most esoteric things. So yes, and happy to show you B2B, B2C, all of that. It's okay to say shitcoin. Yes. We don't do shitcoins here. That is true. Can you speak a bit about thoughts on influencer marketing versus TEL branded assets and how you see that playing into the strategy, knowing that there are trade-offs to cost of influencer and partnership marketing? Okay, so influencer, because we don't do shitcoins and all that, just quickly on influencer, if we're trying to build brand equity for the long term, then our general thing is we're not just going to pay 10 people who have big social followers to talk about a project. Instead, what our influencer partnerships tend to look like, the analogy we'll use is it should be like Leo Messi and Gatorade. It's like on some level, you kind of know Leo Messi's to endorse Gatorade, but it makes perfect sense, and you could imagine Leo Messi not getting paid to endorse Gatorade, having a Gatorade, and so it has to, the best influencer programs, you shouldn't even really have the first thought that somebody's getting paid to do this, right? It should come off as organic and natural. And if you're doing that, it's going to reinforce the master brand. And if you're not doing that, like it would, unless Gatorade was doing something super tongue in cheek, like Jack Black shilling a Gatorade probably doesn't make a lot of familiar with, Tenacious D. So that's how we're looking at everything, is it's really through a brand perspective and what's going to build equity in the long term. That applies to influencers and it applies to anything else we do. Can you talk about how you would target, knowing there are several different audiences for TEL strategy? How would you tailor your audience strategy to reach the different segments? Ooh, that's a great question. That's awesome. So, targeting different audiences. In the perfect world, and I will say out of the probably 200 projects that I've worked on, both at Scribe and then I've been doing this for about 5 years in Web3 for other agencies, I can count on one hand the amount of folks who actually do this. But the way to do it is you would actually do pretty solid market research on your target audiences, and you would get science that says, here is how this audience feels about Telcoin. If they, you're a newer project, there's a lot of people who haven't met you, but for the stakeholders who sort of know you or generally, you or your competitive set or whatever the issue is, you would get some science there and you'd actually understand how people feel versus how we think they feel. And then it gets back to understanding the audience super, super well. We'll take a crack at messaging. Ideally, you message test, and that's more research. And that then you would do your channel selection because you'd know your audiences so well that you would understand their media consumption habits. And, in Web3, there's not a lot of that, and we get that. But we do the light version of that. If people don't want to spend a whole lot of money and time in doing scientific research, that the formula remains the same. Audience, understand them as well as you possibly can. Demographics, psychographics, current opinions towards X, Y, and Z, where you want them to go. And then media consumption habits, where do they get their information, message most likely to resonate. You could do some A/B testing on that. It doesn't require, $100,000 and a research report from Mintel, but that's generally it. Audience, message, channel. Do you do creative in-house? We do. We do creative in-house, and we have a good creative portfolio that I can, share with you guys. But also getting back to it, if there's creative that we can't do in-house, we'll be pretty forward about that. Like if somebody wants to shoot, the Apple AirPod music video with Pedro Pascal and Spike Jonze directing it, we're gonna need to get some other folks there. We'll need to give Spike Jonze a call. But yeah, we do a ton of creative in-house. All right, let's see. And Parker as well, cut me off as well if we're on time. I'm on with the answering questions, but I do want to be respectful to everyone who's on here.
Yeah, if they have questions and you have the time, welcome to continue. And if you also, it's going to over time for you, we're going to do this again in a couple weeks, and then again before the actual final proposal. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give it about 5 more minutes here and see if we can just knock this stuff out. All right, influencer, yeah, tactics, you do that. Okay, BZ, crypto. Yes, I guess there it's not much of a question. I think it's a quote. I would like to hear your views on right influencers. We got that. Multicultural audiences, yes. So there's a couple components to that. So there's, crypto being a super global industry. There's sort of global crypto culture, regardless if someone's based in Nigeria or Sao Paulo or Uzbekistan or in where I am in Chicago. So there's crypto culture, but then there's the tailoring it to multicultural audiences. Then you're getting cultural sensitivity and all that. But yeah, in terms of some of the bigger folks who you saw on that page, as well as regionally focused crypto projects, have that experience. Let's see. Fundamental marketing framework is, oh, cool. Good work, Dad. Spidey and Friends, yes. That's adorable. Go put Spidey on. How do you maintain stay up to date for the changing legislation for advertising with category? That's a really good question. So, I mean, we have lawyers as well, and our clients have lawyers, and sometimes our lawyers and our clients' lawyers don't agree with each other. So there is some back and forth on that. In general, what I will say is that what I have observed over the past 5 years is that a lot of projects are kind of gun shy, understandably so, even when it comes to like doing, paid ads on Twitter or something like that, or paid ads, Google ads, or all of those sorts of things. Typically, what I've found is there's a lot of room between what our clients' lawyers typically recommend, and they're just doing. I get it, same thing, but versus what you're actually able to do. When it comes from an advertising perspective, most of the time projects are from our viewpoint kind of holding themselves back from doing a lot of advertising that they could do, and understand the lawyer's perspective, but it's usually a pretty good take there, and we'll just figure out, whatever. Ultimately, we're not you, and whatever our clients, whatever decision you make, those are the lines that we'll stay within. But paid advertising is an incredibly underutilized channel in crypto because people have kind of a knee-jerk negative reaction to it, and because of the legal issues, which are understandable, but there's still a lot more people there. Gotta go. All right. Take on influencer programs. That's a great. Oh, shit. Okay. And for audience, you can speak about native targeting on. Yes, that's right. That's another thing is we do a lot of crypto native platforms. And so a lot of our some of our work is going to be, on broadcast TV for the Americans in the audience. Some of our work is going to be in wallet inventory. It's going to be programmatic crypto native platforms. And we use a lot of data and analytics from folks like the Kaidos of the world. And we do a lot of online, offline, on-chain, off-chain rather, measurement for stuff like that. So that's that. You guys have been at it for quite a while. I think that's all the stuff in the chat. And I'm going to hop as well. But thank you guys. Really appreciate this and look forward to speaking further and again, help the RFP itself, if that's helpful. So thanks. Appreciate it, Parker. Talk with you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, JB. And yeah, that would be very helpful. We want to refine this RFP, and you've answered all the questions, and we'll look forward to the next step in the process here. So yeah,
Cheers.
Thanks from everybody, and talk soon.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
So we're at about an hour and 40 minutes here, and I'm not sure, but just to double check, is anyone from Storm that wants to come talk, or from IBC here? I think my understanding is they both be coming next week, or in the next meeting, but I'm not sure. Yeah. So yeah, just put your hand
Okay.
up.
Just jumping, IBC are at Token 2049. They're hosting their own events. So they've got their own after party, so they won't be here.
Yeah.
They'll be coming to others, into future ones.
Got it. Great. Thanks. And I think Storm will be the next one. So, well, yeah, that was awesome, Scribe. Thank you so much for coming out. We really appreciate it. It's an exciting proposal. I think that we've all been sort of waiting for this, and now we have the opportunity to do it through the association and through these councils. So I'd like to open up the floor for Q&A if there's anyone that wants to come up and ask a question. And if not, we'll just go through the next 3 meetings and sign off for the day.
There are a couple of questions from earlier that still needed answering around Telcoin network. Did you want me to read them out? They're all vaguely the same.
Like how many MNOs?
Yeah.
That stuff will come out over time, but everything is really, really exciting, promising right now, and that's kind of it comes from them, right? So it's not really my place to say anything at the moment, but I think as far as network progress goes and as far as the commercialization efforts go with MNOs, which that effort's been going on for years and years, right? The GSMA, I mean, there actually was a stablecoin paper that came out yesterday from the GSMA that we wrote alongside some other folks. But anyways, yeah, so things are just very promising on all areas, and I'll let those events unfold through the proper channels at the proper time from the proper people when they do happen. But yeah, I'm certainly very excited at the moment. So are there any other questions besides numbers of MNOs? All right. Well, I think that concludes our 13th Platform and Treasury Council meeting. Thanks everyone for coming out. I will definitely be rewatching this so I can check out the marketing proposal, and I'm very excited about that, along with BZ's ones that he brought up earlier, Brosy's ones that he brought up earlier. I think those are all very exciting and important. And we will catch you in the next one. In the meantime, at Telcoin Tau on Twitter, and this YouTube video will be live in the next 24 hours. Thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you guys. See you in 2 weeks.